If you are anything like me, then you've been gaming since you were very young. For me, games like Super Mario 64, Pokemon Platinum, and Toontown all shaped my childhood. Minecraft, Overwatch, and Celeste shaped my teenage years. And now, as an adult, there are so many games that have had an impact on me that there are just simply too many to choose. It's one of the biggest hobbies in the world. It's an online medium for people to connect, its entire ecosystems, experiences, and forms of expression. It's a form of media where you, the consumer, interact with it in a way found nowhere else. You play the character on screen. You choose the way that you experience the media. Do you focus on the story, the side modes, the competition? Do you break the game? Do you add extra stipulations for difficulty and replayability? There are so many ways to experience games, it's impossible to list them all. But regardless, if you're anything like me, gaming has changed. Now, when I say gaming has changed, I mean it in a variety of ways. Yes, obviously, gaming has changed in the 25 years that I have been alive. Game design has shifted from difficulty to pad out time in between releases to more of a streamlined experience for the sake of sales numbers. The barrier to entry for creating games is the lowest it has ever been. There are so many new games coming out on a daily basis, it's impossible to keep up with them all, especially when they implement underhanded tactics for your attention, like gambling, fear of missing out or FOMO, and mechanics that only serve to give instant gratification and dopamine hits. But I have also grown in that time. My taste in games has changed. I have less time for games as an adult. My motor skills have seemingly peaked and probably won't be getting any better, but I still love the hobby. It's a great way for me to relax at the end of the day, to keep my brain active, to connect with people new and old alike. But recently, that has started to change. Games are starting to feel more like chores and jobs. They're draining, they're stressful, and worst of all, they're boring. This isn't some commentary on how modern games are of less quality. That's a topic for a different time. I know that the games I'm playing are good. So why am I not enjoying them? Specifically, there was one game that I played all the way through. I know that I enjoyed it. I was excited for its release. I spent 100 hours playing this game, and after completing it, I don't remember a thing. I know the main characters' names, the basic gameplay mechanics, and some of the story, but other than that, I can't recall the 100 hours that I put into it. This caused a lot of reflection for me. It didn't used to be like this. Gaming was how I expressed myself, it's how I relaxed and connected with people. But at some point, it stopped being all of those things. How did this happen? Could I even change it? Was I going to lose my biggest hobby? Well, to first find a solution, we need to understand the problem. How exactly did I get here? Before we get into the specifics, I wanted to briefly mention that losing interest in hobbies is a sign of depression. I have spoken to a therapist about all of this, and the solutions to my issues that I'm going to talk about today are personal to me. I myself am not diagnosed with depression, but I show many of its symptoms. You can implement these solutions for yourself, but I highly encourage seeking out a therapist or a mental health professional if you are concerned about your mental health. The world is very unforgiving right now. So please, please, please take the time and energy to make sure that you are safe. And hopefully, after watching this video, you also know that you're not alone in your struggles. We're all in this together. So let's be kind to one another. Like I mentioned before, my gaming story started when I was about 5. My parents got me a used Nintendo 64, despite the GameCube being out for about 4 years at that point. Then it was the DS, and then the Wii, and then a laptop. I would come home every day and play whatever game had my interest at that point. I did sports and other extracurricular things too, but I really loved to play video games. As I grew up, I learned that I also loved the competition that video games offered. This really kicked off when I started playing Smite. It's a MOBA or multiplayer online battle arena where you play as mythical gods. It's a super cool concept. I poured so many hours into this game that honestly, it's not even funny. Then, as I was burning out of it, Overwatch came along and captured me completely. I stuck with that game from its release in 2016 until the release of Overwatch 2. I competed in collegiate esports, LAN events, tournaments, and I would spend many, if not most, of my waking hours grinding on the ranked ladder. So much so that, even though I hate to admit it, my self worth became tied to my SR. When I would lose games, it would put a damper on the whole day. And even when I won, I wasn't happy. It didn't fix my mood. While I would spend all of these hours on Overwatch, I would constantly be thinking about the assignments that I had to do for school, the exams that were coming up, the applications to jobs and graduate programs that I needed to fill out, all of the chores that I needed to do to clean my apartment. Nothing about this entire experience was relaxing. It was a 24/7 grind that led me to this one big moment: the game that I forgot. I wasn't just playing Smite and Overwatch, of course. I love all kinds of games. So when a sequel to one of my favorite RPGs was announced, I was very, very excited. I got the game on release day. I did all of my work ahead of time, and I sat down to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I play these long RPGs over a long amount of time, so despite releasing in July of 2022, Xenoblade quickly became what I would do outside of school and Overwatch for the entire first semester of my senior year. No matter what assignments were pending, if I had a free afternoon, I would play Xenoblade. I managed to roll credits around the time of midterms. I didn't do too well on them. I completely blew off studying to play this game. And when I didn't remember anything that I had played, I realized something very important. The entire time that I was playing Xenoblade, I was not immersed in the story, the setting, or the mechanics. I was playing to procrastinate. And my brain, with all its weird chemistry, simply cannot not think about all of the things that I have to do or should be doing instead. I never focused on the game. I was just letting the game happen to me, to take up time, to not do the work that I didn't want to do, while simultaneously letting everything that I'm trying to avoid occupy my brain so that I never gave myself the chance to relax. That is how I got here. While this story is personal, I also cannot deny that gaming itself has changed over the years, for the worse, in my opinion. Games that release at full price but aren't finished, games with a free to play model that use fear of missing out to keep you online as much as possible, games that taunt you with characters and weapons hidden behind gambling systems, code and stories written by AI taking the soul out of the art, fan games, passion projects, and mods taken down just for the company to steal the ideas and make money from. Successful games that sell millions of copies, but the companies state that they don't meet their profit goals, so they lay off thousands of talented people to make the shareholders happier. Re releases, remakes, and remasters that do nothing but still expect you to clap and pay money while locking the original, affordable art out of your reach. Subscription services, games being sunset, not legally owning the games that you purchased. It's all a huge mess. And it's very easy to see that, at least in the AAA space, gaming is not what it used to be. Indies and Valve, to a degree, carry all of my hopes for the future of this medium. It's tough to say that I want to leave the companies that made such impactful games behind, but that's just how it feels right now. I don't think that they have my interests in mind. They simply just want my money. Each thing that I listed could be a 30-minute video essay on its own. And if you spend as much time on YouTube as I do, you've probably seen these 30-minute video essays, and no one really has anything positive to say. So maybe it's unfair to pin the loss of my enjoyment of this hobby on myself. But I still don't think that I have entirely clean hands in this situation. I think that in broad terms, all of that paints a good picture of the problem that I'm having with gaming right now. There are other factors like my personal life and my lack of career, of course. I'm in a growing statistic of 18 to 25-year-olds that are unemployed. I have 2 degrees, have put in over 400 applications, and I can barely get a call back for an entry level position. But that really cements that I do want this hobby back. After talking with my therapist about gaming and other hobbies, and everything else, I've come up with a bit of a plan to help me gain it back. Sadly, it's not an easy fix everything implementation of something simple that will magically fix it all. It's a kind of restructuring of how I do basically everything, and it's going to take constant energy and effort to uphold. And I'm hoping that the result will help me uphold these changes, sort of in its own feedback loop. But as we all know, mental health is funny, and I have no guarantee that that's going to happen. But having a goal and an ideal outcome is kind of enough for me right now. So let's talk about these different strategies. Strategy one: time blocking. Time blocking is a time management strategy where you give tasks and activities a specific amount of time during the day. This can look different for everyone. And since I'm aiming to be on that 9 to 5 shift when I do get a job, here's how I plan to spend my days. During normal working hours, so like 9 to 5, is when I will do, quote, normal society productive things. I use this title because job applications don't necessarily contribute to society, but you do need to treat job hunting like a job right now. If I get tired of it, then I'll spend that time making YouTube videos and content, specifically editing it. I'll get to why I'm doing content in just a little bit, but that's where this will fit into my plan. After normal working hours, from about 4 to 7, is my self care time. This is the time to cook, clean, go to stores, exercise, fold laundry, things like that. Activities that only serve to enhance your personal life and your environment. I work and relax best in a clean space. Maintaining it and getting it out of my head will hopefully make everything feel better. And after that's done, then it's time to relax. So about 7 to bed is when I will game, watch YouTube, or go out with friends. The reason I'm implementing time blocking is to free my mind of the tasks that constantly sit in the back of my brain, leaving work at work, knowing that I've put a good amount of time today cleaning and maintaining my space. This allows me to really free my brain of any annoying noise that usually sits there for free, ruining my nights. I know that this system is difficult to uphold, especially if you can't leave work at work or you have some form of neurodivergence. I could always be doing applications, but saving a specific time for it helps me stay motivated to even do it at all. I can tell you that at the time of writing and recording, I have failed to uphold this consistently. That's not a bad thing. It takes time to build habits, and jumping into the deep end of such a drastic change in what I do every single day, there shouldn't be an expectation to be perfect. I'm learning to give myself that grace. The results, when I do uphold it, are nice. It works for me. There is motivation to keep going. So I will. I've never failed until I've given up. I'll keep trying. The second strategy that I wanted to talk about is inherent immersion. This strategy looks to use the immersion that's already done for us to our advantage. The first inherent immersion that I want to touch on is nostalgia. It's so much easier for me to immerse myself into Pokemon, Mario Galaxy, and Stardew Valley than it is Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, or Silksong. That's not to say I don't like the setting, atmosphere, or mechanics of these games, it's just simply because they're new. By playing games that I've already immersed myself in previously, I'm hoping it'll be easier to do the same in others. I'm thinking of this like a gateway. Start with something easy, something you know. You can only get out of your comfort zone when you know what the comfort zone is. And currently, there isn't any for me. So I'm looking to make one or redefine it. The second inherent immersion has to do with hardware. You may have seen a trend where people are moving back to older technology, using buttons to interface with things, changing the song, movie, or game that is physically inserted into the machine, not having to wait for updates, internet connection, downloading an app and making a profile. It just works. No subscription, no ads, no internet disruptions. I understand that not everyone can do this. Some technology is expensive and it's hard to get your hands on it. It's sadly a privilege to own these kinds of things right now, but I highly recommend investing in it while we're still allowed to own things and things that we know were made by humans, humans with souls that care. Maybe not the higher ups, but someone, maybe. You also can't do this with everything. A PS5 game won't run on a PS2. You can only play it on the PS5. You can't go back and play Overwatch 1 or a previous patch of a live service game. Even if you could, there will be no one there. But still, finding a way to block out the noise of previous conveniences turned modern day inconveniences will work to your advantage. Again, you'll see what I mean if you can just get your hands on something like that. You plug it in, you put the disc in the thing, and it works. No apps, no updates, no connection to Wi Fi, no subscription. It just works. And you own it, and you own it forever. Here's how I plan to implement both of these inherent immersions at once. I've been playing Platinum, Soul Silver, and Emerald in all new ways. The only difference is that I ordered an original DS so that I could record it. I set up my 64 so that I could finally beat Ocarina of Time, and I set up my Wii to revisit Galaxy. That brings me to why I'm making content on these things. It's a way to hold myself accountable to complete them. I have a bad habit of not finishing playthroughs, challenges, projects, etc. While I don't love editing, I do like script writing. And as an adult, despite the ease of immersion, I can look at these games in a different way. I can learn what I like and what I don't like. Now, instead of chores and assignments, my head is filled with creative ideas, thoughts, and questions about the games. I'm excited to boot up a 30-year-old console just to test something out. Yes, the temptation to look up guides is there, but when I realized that I like experimenting, experiencing, adventuring, and discovering, I grew averse to a wiki. It's not cheating, but it feels like giving up and letting someone else do it for me. I don't want that. I want to play the game. And just like that, it was back. A shell of its former self in its current iteration, yes, but it was there. I love video games again, and I'm going to continue to hold on to this for as long as I can. That is what the channel is for. There aren't many videos on here yet, but I have so many fun ideas and long term projects that you will see hopefully sometime soon when I actually sit my ass down to edit some of them. If you are anything like me, join me in taking this hobby back for yourself. Tell me what games, consoles, challenges, or content that you're going to do. Uplift and encourage other people to do the same. Don't put others down if they want to experience it in a different way. You don't get more points for beating Emerald as a Nuzlocke instead of just again. This hobby isn't a competition, it's a group effort, a group experience, one that we want to share with other people. And it's finally time that we took it back. If you want to see all the things I have planned, they'll be right here on this YouTube channel. And I'll also be live streaming them on my Twitch channel. I hope to see you all there. GLHF. Yay!